Namaste. Today we are going to prepare Ambali. It is a very healthy and nutritious dish which can be given to anyone above the age of 9 months. It's very simple to make. It is a fermented food which is made with millets. It's very good for improving the gut health. It acts as a prebiotic as well as a probiotic. We can eat it either as a porridge or in the form of a drink. So let's see how we can prepare it. Ambali can be made with any kind of millet. When we make it with positive grains like kodo millet, little millet, foxtail millet, barnyard millet and brown top millet, then we can make Ambali with either the grain, the semolina or the flour of millets. So let's see how it can be made. It's made only with 2 ingredients. One is the millet and second is the water. So let's see how we can prepare Ambali. Ambali is made only with 2 ingredients. One is the millets and second is the water. We don't require a third ingredient to make Ambali. So first I am making the Ambali with kodo millet today. First we need to wash the grain, so we will wash it and then we will just take out all the water. I'll add more water to it and then just keep it for soaking. We need to soak it for a minimum of 6 hours. So I'll just keep it on a side, and this is my soaked millet which I had soaked for 6 to 8 hours. So you can see with kodo we get such dark water as well, but we are not going to discard this water. We are going to use it for making our Ambali. The reason why we use this water is because it's very rich in water soluble vitamins as well as the lignans which are on the upper surface of the millets. So what I'll do is I am going to churn it in the mixer grinder. We are not going to grind it fully. I am just going to break it. I'll just churn this in the mixer grinder. I'll not grind it completely. We just need to break the grain. So let's see how we can make porridge and drink with it. So to make porridge, we are going to use 2 tablespoons of this ground millet grain, and I'll add 1 cup of water to it. So this I'll keep for cooking, and it will take around 10 minutes to cook, and after cooking I'll show you how it is looking. To make the drink, we need to take 1 tablespoon of this ground millet and 2 cups of water. 1 and 2. So now you have seen, to make porridge we have used 2 tablespoons of the ground grain with 1 cup of water, and for the drink we have used 1 tablespoon of the ground grain with 2 cups of water. I am going to cook both of this, the porridge and the drink. So you can see that we have made this porridge. Now after making this porridge, I'll keep it for fermenting. We are going to ferment it in a clay pot. It's very important to ferment it in a clay pot because the clay pot have very small holes in it which will aid in the air circulation and the growth of the microbes. So I'll just add this. So you can see that this porridge is not very thick. You can see that it is still a little watery, right? So we have to make a little watery porridge. It's very important that the water should be, it's very important that it should be a thin porridge and not a thick porridge. When we will ferment it, it will become a little thick, but never mind, it has to be very thin. So after keeping it in the clay pot, I am going to cover it with a cotton cloth or a muslin cloth. We just have to make sure that the fabric that we are using should be a natural fabric. So I will just keep it aside for around 8 hours. And you can see that this is in the form of a drink. So it is very thin. I am going to keep it in the clay pot for fermenting. So again, this is the clay pot. You can see it is very thin because it is in liquid form. Again, I have put a cloth on top of it and we will secure it with the help of a band. So now again we will keep it for around 8 hours. So now when we have prepared the porridge and the drink, it is in that form. Till the time we ferment it, it will not become Ambali. So to make Ambali, the first question arises is, how long does it need to ferment? If it is very cold, we need to ferment it for around 20 to 30 hours. If it is okay, not very cold, we are wearing 1 or 2 jackets, then we need to ferment it for 16 to 20 hours. And if it is hot, like a summer day, then we need to ferment it for 6 to 8 hours. So it just depends on the time it takes to set the curd in your area. So when we are making the Ambali, we can ferment it either in a glass pot or a clay pot or a ceramic pot, though the clay pot is the best. The fermentation will not be as good as a clay pot in the glass jar or a ceramic jar. Since I live in a region where it is very hot, it took me 8 hours to ferment the millets. So after fermenting, let us see actually how we can use it. This porridge is ready. You can see that it is not very thick, it is of a thin consistency. So this porridge can be eaten with anything that you like. You can eat it with curd, you can eat it with salt, you can eat it with jaggery, you can eat it with fruits, you can eat it with vegetables. So this is very simple to eat. It's very important to understand that this porridge is without salt. So it's very versatile in nature. We can eat it either salted or in the sweet form. If we are eating it in the salted form, we will add salt to it only when we want to eat it. We will not add salt and keep it. Just before eating, we will add salt and then eat it immediately. So let's see, this is the liquid Ambali that we have made. You can see it's quite thin in consistency. Either you can drink it the way it is, or you can add salt, a little jaggery, a little lemon juice, and again you can drink it. You can also add ginger, green chili, black salt, lemon juice if you like. Even then it will taste very nice. Or you can even make it like a fruit juice. So I'll just show you how to make a fruit smoothie with it. So now we are making a smoothie with the liquid Ambali that we have made. I'm just using a very simple banana smoothie, 1 and 2 bananas. With this I am adding dates as a sweetener. With the dates I am also using half cup of leaves. I am using amaranthus leaves. You can use any leaves that you like. For flavor, I am using vanilla extract. If you want, you can put a little cinnamon as well. So now with very little water, I am going to churn this. So you can see that we have churned it well. So after churning it properly, we are going to add the ambali. So now I will churn it again, but I am only going to pulse it. We will not grind it fully, otherwise the microbes in our ambali will start getting destroyed. So we will only put it on pulse. So just see how we have made the ambali very interesting to drink. So this is a very healthy and nutritious ambali, very rich in probiotics and microbes. So our very healthy and nutritious banana amaranthus smoothie is ready. It's very important to understand that we cannot prepare the ambali and keep it in the refrigerator. It will not ferment. Even after it is fermented, we cannot keep it in the refrigerator. We must use it when it is ready to drink. We can keep it for say 3-4 hours after it is being made, but we cannot refrigerate it. If it is very cold and we feel that ambali is very cold and we want to heat it a little bit, then we cannot heat it directly on the flame. If we want to heat it, sometimes we don't want to have the ambali in the cold state, we want to have it warm. So we cannot warm it on a flame. What we have to do is, we have to use the double boiling method to warm it. Take a utensil, put some water in it, and when the water starts boiling, you can just keep the ambali on top and stir it continuously till it becomes a little warm. When it gets a little warm, you can just take it out and it's ready to use. We have seen how to prepare ambali, but let's see how we can eat it. We should always eat it on an empty stomach, whether it is morning, afternoon or evening, but it should always be consumed on an empty stomach. So we can use a steel vessel or any other iron vessel, cast iron vessel for cooking the ambali. But when we want to ferment it, at that time it's important that it should be fermented, number one, in clay pot. If you don't get the clay pot, then you can ferment it in either glass vessel or ceramic vessel, but try to use clay pot for making ambali. One more thing that we should remember is, whenever we are having ambali, we should try to have it as diluted as possible, because it stays in our stomach for very less time, and when it stays in the stomach for very less time, then we get more microbes out of it, and after reaching the intestines, the microbes start multiplying themselves. So it's very important that the more diluted the ambali is, it's better. When we see the method of making ambali, sometimes we feel that it's a very long process, because we need to soak the millet and then preparing it, fermenting it, everything seems very lengthy. Sometimes when you see the process of making ambali, you will feel that it's a very lengthy process, and especially when you have to soak it and then ferment it, it becomes very lengthy. So let's see how to prepare instant ambali. We'll make a powder with ambali so that whenever you want, you can prepare it instantly. So let's see how we can prepare it. So let's see how we can make a powder for making ambali. So these are the soaked millets. I have soaked it for minimum 6 hours. I'll just strain it. After that, I'll just spread it on a cloth and we will just keep it aside till it will start drying up. So after drying it for 12 to 14 hours, you can just take the grain, roast it in a cauldron, and then you can just powder it in a mixer grinder. After you powder it in a mixer grinder, you can just keep it in a jar. When you want to make the ambali, it will become very easy. Just take the powder, cook it in the water, and you can just keep it for fermenting. So after you have made the powder, you can just use as I have shown you. So you have seen how easy it is to make ambali. It's a fast food which is ready to eat. You don't have to prepare anything. So just enjoy ambali and see the difference in your health.